So I learned from the registrar that there are people who are still attending accounting. So they haven't cleared up accounting. And so that was part of our discussions. And guys, like I said, I don't see any issues whatsoever. You can attend accounting, you can attend also finance at the same time. I see them. I've already said to you last week, it's like a mother and a daughter. I don't see much of the difference. And attending both is to your benefit. So whether you're going through the recordings or you are attending physically, that works for me perfectly. So I just want to make note of that. But it was quite nice to have two people come in and apologize that they're going to attend accounting, and perfectly fine. I think that they're having a new lecturer for accounting so that they just want to know who they're dealing with. So that's a good thing. With regards to Hanti's question, that's a very good question because you're always going to wonder, am I over preparing? Am I reading too much? Obviously, for me, I would say just first of all, make sure that you've gone through the basics, right? So you go through our little pathway. If you've completed the pathway and you've gone even the extra mile, that's wonderful. But I just want to draw your attention. This question came in today, very always on point. Hanti with these questions is always on point. You will see that the announcement that I put out today is addressing exactly that. So, guys, being in, now lecturing for 5 years, it's a big thing, you see. So that's the advantage of being a tenured lecturer. So you would see that I've structured the announcement properly to show you that there is even a level where you will call the deep dive, you see. So if you clear level 1, level 2, you can even go even much deeper. So there is nothing wrong with that. But the reason why I would like you even to be over-prepared is that if you are in the exam and you have to figure out things, you'll be able to figure out things quicker than other people. So being over-prepared is a good thing. It's really, Hanti, really, I hope I'm answering you properly. So being over-prepared is not a bad thing. It's really a good thing. What I'm more worried, you guys just, so Denver is my old friend. He was with me last year, right? Denver joined us from America, right? Make sure all the time to come in and say hi and all that. And he's doing finance. He's already doing learning unit 2. So that's the point I'm making. So he's already doing learning unit 2. And if some of you already are doing learning unit 2, going to learning unit 3, I am in heaven. And I trust that you understand that part. I'm in heaven because every time we're having a session, everything would be much, much easier for you than somebody who doesn't even know, doesn't even have a slight idea. All right. So I'm just going to switch off my camera just to save a little bit of bandwidth so that we can really focus on our session. It's a practical session, and you saw in the announcement that I put out is that we are now already in week 2. We are starting with the practical side of things. And I'm sure that all of you listening to this went through last week's recording and you are very clear on where we're standing. And it does make sense to you that we are starting our practical journey, if I can put it that way, because of the fact that it's a numeracy module. It is wonderful, obviously, that you have plenty of readings, because that means that the module explains itself, the course explains itself. That's a good thing, but this is not a purely theoretical module. It is a numeracy module. So please bear that in mind. And I just want us to be as practical as possible. I'm just going to cover quickly 2 points, and then we are going into our practice session. The first point is the fact that I've put out already all the notes for you to play around with. As you can see, I'm just taking an example here. Where's Hanty here? All right, cool. So if you can see in the class note, Hanty should be able to have access to everything, right? So for the foundational phase, you are covered with all the notes, right? So the notes are in, it's always good to have the notes. Like I said, this is how I would take a textbook and write inside the textbook and make notes for myself, right? This is how I would do it in the physical side of things. But in the digital way, obviously we're using OneNote. It's always good because and I'm sure you're gonna make your own notes. In fact, you would take this one and make a copy of it and make it your own, and take your own notes and then save it as a PDF that you're going to save. If you fear that something could happen and you lose your note, you can save it. You just go to File. So if you have OneNote as an application on your PC, you're just going to the File section, and then you will go to Export, and there it is. So you could export it as a PDF. You could export it as an XPS. You know, you could even export it as a Word document, right? So that could be if you want to save, but it is as simple as taking the notes that your lecturer has made available to you and just making a copy of it. You could simply copy and paste, just make a copy of it, and that will be your own. And I would like you to do so that there could be certain things that you are doing. One of my past students managed to put some beautiful summaries, and we could use them. Some of your colleagues could benefit from it. All right, this is just summaries. And the thing also is that I know it's a textbook, and a textbook, black and white, it's not the most pleasant thing to read, right? It could be boring, right? So that's the reason why I do add the notes to explain clearly what some of the difficult sections, right? What some of the difficult sections mean. Obviously, it doesn't mean it's every single sentence that is covered. But over the years, I would see maybe students struggle with a particular thing, and I would just add some notes to it, right? Trust me, there's plenty of notes. So if you are that person, right? So let's say maybe Hanty would like really to fully understand and say, you know what? I am going to read the textbook for myself. I would like to provide a companion for Hanty when he's reading the textbook, so that he can have some notes that are explaining some of the sections, and he can also add his own notes to it. But that makes you, you fully understand, you see. So you are not, you fully understand. But I also know some of you might be busy, right? Or in a hurry. Remember, we only have 2 weeks to cover a learning unit. I would not want you to waste time. And you see, because you keep on repeating yourself, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And guys, I repeat again to you, you are not going to do it. So don't postpone. Don't say, well, but I don't have my textbook. There is no such excuse. And most of you, that I've spoken to, I've told you about this. Don't have that excuse to say, well, but my textbook is not yet here, or I have an access issue. Look, access should not stop you. Your textbook should not stop you, right? So please don't postpone, because I want you to be in the bus. I don't want you to be all the time running after the bus, you see. Because if you're postponing and you're saying, okay, you know what, I would do it during the weekend, and then during the weekend you don't get the chance of doing it, then it becomes a next week thing. And by next week we are going into learning unit 2. Now you are playing catch up all the time. So I really hope that you understand this part, especially at the beginning of the semester. I would like to emphasize this. And trust me, many who have not listened to this have found themselves that they have, unfortunately, they didn't manage to clear this module. And obviously you can see Denver was here. It's in good spirit. We are not enemies. But you will be telling me next year and say, you know what, you are correct, you are right. I should have followed what you were saying. So please, bear with me. Just I know it's a repeat, but it's for your good. I think that it's going to make things very, very clear to you. So, right, don't waste too much time. If, for example, you don't have plenty of time, you are more visual, you enjoy more of the pathway, use the pathway. Use the pathway that I've provided to you, where you can go from point A, B, C, D, and that's it, and you are done, right? All right, so I've shared all the notes, like I said, for the foundational phase from learning unit 1 to learning unit 4, because that's what we are going to dwell on with regards to our formative assessment. So assessment 1 is on learning unit 1 and 2, and assessment 2, your test 2, is on learning units 3 and 4. As simple as that. And every time that you complete a learning unit, do not waste time. Go to the test prep. The test prep will provide you the real deal of past test. And I just want you to take an hour. Just an hour, right? Here it says 10 hours because some of these tests, remember I told you in the past we used to do the assignment, the long assignment. We've passed that. Now we are doing a time-limited test. All right? This is a time-limited test, guys. Not only you have the time-limited test, meaning you can do the test for yourself. Let's say you've covered learning unit 1. You would come here and you would answer questions on learning unit 1, right? You would look, does it make sense? I've provided you the answer, but you just go through it by yourself to say, okay, this is exactly what I read in the textbook, and it does make sense, right? It doesn't mean you need to memorize the questions. One of the biggest mistake some students are doing in finance is to memorize questions. Do not memorize questions. Understand just the question, but don't memorize, because you're not going to get it the same way in the next test, right? So I hope that that's clear. But here is, for example, a test, right? You look at it, there's questions. You would see that the first question is covering learning unit 1, and the second question would cover learning unit 2, because we are starting with the calculation phase, right? If you go up here, you would see that there is a video that you can play that basically shows you how the whole entire paper is resolved. Guys, I would not accept any excuse that you did not have proper assistance. So you don't need actually me to start already, okay? So now that you have finished learning unit 1, tackle some of the questions that relate to learning unit 1. You have it available. It is available. You can see it. You have it available. This was the example of Auntie. You can see Auntie's here and test prep 1, and I've shared test prep 1 for Auntie to start already preparing, so that when he finishes a learning unit, he's not waiting for close to the test to the test itself to start preparing. So meaning that, and that's where I told Hanty, it's a great things that you are over preparing so that you can be able to practice already for your tests with all the information that you have. You are just structuring all the information that you have in your head by practicing the test. All right. So I trust, guys, that this makes sense. Any questions?
So I know that, yeah, that was a mistake.
All right, cool. Any questions that you may have on this? I also shared this. I don't know why it's not loading. I don't know if from your side you can okay, the solutions are here. This test bank. I don't know why it's not available, but just check. Try to sync or refresh. It's always good to refresh and see if it's appearing. If it's not appearing, I will share again. But most of our practice comes from that place, right? I will share test prep 2. It's already there. It's already available. So let's say you are so proactive and it's working perfectly for you. Like, let's say, like Denver. Denver has covered already Learning Unit 2. Is going to start preparing for test 1. But let's say he goes even to Learning Unit 3. While we are still on Learning Unit 2, he is already at Learning Unit 3 and Learning Unit 4. I don't want him to waste time to just read a learning unit, but he's not practicing, he's not preparing. So I also could make that available for you. All right. So those were the 3 things. You have the test prep, you have the extra material, and you have the class notes. Right. So we are coming to our practice. There's no questions. Guys, if there's something that is confusing in the textbook, you have 2 options. 2 options, sorry. The first option is to share that with us in our WhatsApp community of practice and say, guys, this is the question. This is how you will put it. This is the format. Guys, I'm struggling with this section or I'm struggling with this question. You just put it there. You don't say, please help me. Just put it there. Your colleagues will do the work. They will either share with you what's the solution, what they think the solution is, or what the solution is, right? And I will always give a chance to the class to respond to a question on the content or on the exam or on the test. I will always give a chance to your colleagues to respond. And after that, I will also weigh in. I'll always come in and say, that was correct. So and so gave you the correct solution. If there's something to add, if there's something to take away, I will always also weigh in. Right. So guys, I hope that that's clear. Okay. So we said interactive practice. Just a second. Allow me to refresh this. And guys, you are there. You are available. I want you to be proactive. Everybody who came to this section tonight is considered as having covered Learning Unit 1. If you have not covered Learning Unit 1, you are starting already on the back foot. Try to make sure that that doesn't happen again, so that when we meet next week, you would already have started with Learning Unit 2, so that we can practice on Learning Unit 2, right? So this weekend, you guys are going to go and are going to start looking already at past papers. Why am I putting past papers in front of you? So that you're not scared of them. Because I know when you're seeing something for the first time, it makes you panic. You are not scared of the papers. You look at the papers, you read the question. And by the way, you would be surprised by how much strategies we're going to share together. It's amazing. People actually have gotten a lot on how even to prepare for an exam, how to handle a paper. You see, but there is always that thing, in your written exams, you always provided 5 minutes of reading. And that's a good thing. But that's basically, it's all about you practicing reading questions properly. Because if you misunderstand the question, you are most likely going to fail at answering that question. So I trust that that makes sense. So your reading and comprehension is very, very vital. And so one of the things I will repeat to you over the year is that, over the semester, is answer the question that you are being asked. Don't answer another question that we are not asking you. You would be surprised how many students are wasting so much time answering something that they didn't ask them. I know when you are panicking, you are like, okay, I don't fully understand the question. I'm just going to throw whatever I know. All right. Yeah, it's sometimes, but it's not going to work here. It's not going to work. Read, understand what they're asking you. If you feel like I'm not understanding the question, I'll come back to it later. Move on. It's part of some of the strategies we're going to share, right? Remember, you have a 3-hour exam at the end of the semester. That exam requires time management, right? But you're already practicing from the very beginning of the semester. Right, so guys, we have two companies here. Just read what is on your screen there. We have company A and company B. Obviously, company A is reporting record-breaking profits, right? What does APS stand for? Guys, we are in the living room. Feel free to unmute every time and answer.
Sorry, sir, what did you ask? On my side, you broke up there.
Sorry, APS, 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 this one. You can see on my screen, APS, this one. What does it stand for? Wonderful, earning per share. Earnings per share, very good answer, Hanty, right? So we having this company A that is reporting good profit, but company B is not reporting good profit, right? But the share price has doubled. And you read that in your learning unit 1. We have share price, we have earning per share. What do they mean, these things, right? And especially for our application, right? So suddenly company A files for bankruptcy, right? And company B is thriving, right? So it is true. If the ultimate goal of the business is making money, how can a highly profitable company collapse while a modestly profitable one strives? Can anyone attempt? There's a silence, but it's not a bad thing, right? So let's move on. So profits. Oh, Sierra. Company with higher profits runs into cash flow problems in the long term. It's a very good attempt. Sierra, I like that. It's a very good attempt, but obviously we want to question that. Is it really? Are all companies the same? So would companies that are highly profitable always run into cash flow problems? I wouldn't say that. That would be basically the norm. I wouldn't say that. But the explanation there in front of you should be a summary. Obviously, some of you already, this rings a bell because if you read Learning Unit 1, this makes sense, right? So profit is only a snapshot, right? It ignores risk timing. And plus, companies, when they are advertising themselves, I don't think that they would rather have bad profits. Obviously, they would like to advertise that they're making a lot of profits, but you know accountants, right? And that's the slight difference between a financier and an accountant, right? accountants are very good at cooking the books, right? You can always basically, show that somehow the company is highly profitable. But that's the reason why when we're starting with learning unit 2, you're going to be looking at financial statement, because very high profits might not mean a lot. You see, you need to dig a little bit deeper than just we are very, very, very profitable. You see, but the notion that you need to get out of all this is wealth creation, not profit only. Profit is a good thing. We are not saying profit is a bad thing. Obviously, you need to be profitable. We are talking about something that is much bigger than just making profit. We are talking about wealth maximization, right? So by the way, if you check in the notes, I always make reference to a picture and a motion picture and a video. And I say always that wealth maximization is like a motion picture. You see, you are looking at slightly a longer version than just a snapshot, you see. So profit at one point in time is just a snapshot. I trust you are picturing this in your brain. It's just a snapshot. But it's not going as deeper as telling us what is happening over a time period. So share price, and that's when you're reading Learning Unit 1, I suppose that the most difficult part, I don't know if you would agree with me or not, but feel free to unmute yourself. Did you see where it was talking about fundamental and technical analysis? Did you see that section? And what do you think about that section? It's Learning Unit 1. It is in your textbook. So if you have your textbook, you saw that part where it's talking about fundamental and technical analysis and the difference between the two, right? Anything that you can tell me about, feel courageous to it doesn't matter whether you are right or not. That's not the purpose. The purpose is the interaction, you see. So if you read it, what do you think about, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Because to explain to you, I consider myself more of a technical analyst. And some of you, last week saw that, I shared with you that I'm also doing data science at the moment, right? Because computer science is becoming so important, right? Especially with the advent of AI. But with my background in finance, I'm more looking at data. When I say data, I'm talking about the past, because when you collect data, you're collecting data from the past, right? And you are analyzing those data to tell you, can you tell me something about the future? Because if I can see a trend, you know what a trend is. So if I can see for the past 5 years, I can see the share price moving this way, it's easy for me. Oh, sorry. Seems like we have slightly a connection problem, but let me repeat that. What is the difference between fundamental analysis and technical analysis? There is a short summary in your Learning Unit 1 on fundamental and technical. So I'm already giving you some clues to what the difference is. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Henty. Right, so Henty is busy reading, guys. I hope you're reading I hope you're doing your homework, right? So technical analysis, yes, it will use past data. Like I would see myself more as a technical analyst, because I will look at the past to see the trend, and to see if that's because those trends, they do tend to repeat themselves, right? But obviously, you can't just be a technical analyst. You can be strongly a technical analyst, but you can't just be a technical analyst. You need both. So that's why in your textbook, it does tell you, for example, technical, so a good summary would be this. And a technical analyst, so technical analysis will help you know when to buy, because we are talking about shares. We buy and sell shares, right? You know that, right? We buy and sell shares. So a technical analyst will tell you more of when to buy, but a fundamental or a fundamental analysis will tell you what to buy. So that's a very good summary for you guys, right? So if you have not read that section, read again, because it's a very important section, right? It tells you these two different way that we analyze companies, right? It's all about company analysis. But does it make sense, guys? Do you understand this part? So wealth is more long-term, and that's why it is built into the share price. Profit, remember, we calculate profit for the year. We only take a snapshot picture. 1 year is short-term, you know? Does that make sense? Are you good? Can you give me a thumb up so that I know you understand at least this? All right. Okay, guys, don't leave me alone here. It's not a one-man show, right? So we're halfway. Let's move on through our interaction here. I would like you to read the question for yourself. And in the chat to just tell me if it's A, B, C, or D. All right. Just making it practical. All right, so the primary role of the financial manager is to do what, right? Is it to ensure the proper running of the business, or B, to focus on acquisition, financing, and management of the assets to maximize the wealth of shareholders? Or is it C, enhance the cash balances of the enterprise? Or is it D, to put measures in place to prevent fraud? All right, who has not answered? Because I just want to make sure everybody, there's 8 people here. I only see 4. Come on, guys. Don't take chances. Answer. Don't wait for the answer. All right, all right. So, okay, it seems like B is winning, right? Okay, is that true? Yes, it is. All right, so there is that aspect. So learning unit 1 drives this point in your head strongly to show you that there is just more than the profit. There is something called really the wealth. And when you look at these big companies today that we talk about, Facebook, I mean, for years and years and years, Facebook was not profitable. For years and years and years, majority of companies, last time I was watching SpaceX of Elon Musk, you know, that it was not profitable for up to only last year. Or yes, that's where they started to make now money. Why? Because they were first building the business, the wealth of the business, you see. So you need to look beyond just the profit. Is it really creating wealth? Is it going to leave a legacy? Right? All right. All right, so let's move to this question. Let's talk about the responsibilities of financial management, right? So which of the following is not generally considered to be the responsibility of a financial manager? Relationship management, financial planning and analysis, financial decisions, recording financial transactions. Come on. Let's practice. Guys, I'm waiting on all of you. It must be quick. I'm not going to give you, not going to give you, it should be 5 seconds. You only have 5 seconds. If you're not responding in 5 seconds, it doesn't count. I will not count your answer. Come on. Don't wait for the others to answer for you to answer. I like that. Appreciate that. Listen, if you get it wrong, it's supposed to be for you to see. Listen, I need to read a little bit more. So don't be scared to if you don't get it right. All right. All right. So, but I see D is coming more. All right. So is that true? Absolutely. Right. So that's the correct answer because she said it. Ciara said it. She said it. It is looks more like the accountant's job, right? That's where you will see some of the differences, right? You know, the financial management will not really be bothered with the recording, right? That is more sort of historians. So that's the reason why you understand why I call accountant historians. Right? They're more of historians. Right? Okay. Let's move on to this, right? So realizable returns, right? Shareholders receive realizable returns through what? Okay. Be ready. Go for it. Don't waste time. Is it earning per share, cash dividend? Is it increase in share price and cash dividend? Is it increase in share price and earning per share? Is it profit and earning per share? What is it? Right. So I appreciate that. That's more honest. You see, you guys are trying, and I like that. All right. So I will take what is the majority here? It seems like B is coming more. Increase in share price and cash dividend. Absolutely, it would make sense. And because shareholder gain wealth when the value of the share increases, right? So let's say, for example, you bought the share at 10 rand, but now the share price has gone to 20 rand. All of a sudden, what you invested in has doubled. You see, all of a sudden. So that's already good return. So if you were to sell your share today, you bought it yesterday for 10 rand, you are to share your share today, you will get 10 more rand. So you've doubled your investment. Right? So that does that make sense? Making it just simple for you, right? Also, the cash dividends. Obviously, companies will decide whether they need to give some cash dividend back, right? Because, and again, we are already thinking ahead. Cash dividend. So the company would decide, or the financial manager will decide, is it good for us to return some money to the people? Or to take that money and reinvest in other projects so that we can get more profit. So Facebook and some of those companies, tech companies, what they were doing is to take some of the profits and reinvest it. You see. So that's it. That's the thing. Because why am I giving you back your money while we can reinvest into something more profitable? Does that make sense, guys? Do you want to unmute yourself at this stage and maybe discuss this? Do you understand this? Okay. So, okay. Some of you wonderful. I like that. So that's basically what is happening in finance. We have to ask ourselves these questions. But if I'm a financial manager, let me use maybe, okay, Tammy is a financial manager and she's looking for projects out there, and there is no project really that's provide a great return. It would make sense for Tammy to pay out cash dividends and to keep the money and not invest it into another project. the shareholders will be like, what are you doing? If you're not finding a more profitable project to invest in, then give us some money back, right? Cash dividend. So, but guys, there would be a learning unit that will go deep into that, right? You don't need to worry. Whatever concept we are covering here, there is a learning unit that will delve deeper into that. But you just need to have the general idea. Remember, it's learning unit 1. Right. So let's move on to this question. We're practicing, guys. Are you ready? Ethics can be thought of as a branch of philosophy that involves systematizing, defending, and recommending concepts, right and wrong. Or is it B, a certain kind of behavior? Or is it C, a code of conduct? So when we are talking about ethics, like you read in Learning Unit 1, what are we talking about? Are we talking about D, the differentiation of intentions between good and bad? All right, guys, I appreciate that. So it seems like A is winning. And it is true because ethics forms the moral norms and systematic philosophy that guide fairness. You hear that all the time, fairness and compliance in financial activities. It's not just a buzzword, guys, especially you as a future entrepreneur or a future somebody who is active in the hospitality sector, right? You need to be cognizant of ethics, very important. Without that, bad things are going to happen, right? And we hear all these scandals. No worries, Saskia, whenever you can, but don't forget to join us again for the next one. But maybe before just you leave, one more question. Eliminating the agency problem. Which one of the following may help eliminate the agency problem? Fixed salaries for all corporate executives, executive bonuses based on increased sales, share options used as management compensation, increases based on the value of asset under management. Come on, guys. Okay, so I see C is coming a lot. You can see the share options. Wonderful. That makes sense, right? We make the financial manager part of the wealth, right? So now the financial, remember, a shareholder has a vested interest. So now we're making the financial manager, we making him or her have a vested interest. Right? Makes sense, huh? Makes sense. So we force him to have a vested interest. Right, guys? Performance rewards. Which one of the following would generally not be regarded as an advantage of performance-related reward scheme? Tammy is on fire. Did she just answer? Saskia, everybody, guys, you guys have been practicing, so that's a good thing. But is it true? Is it A? Shall we? Yes, absolutely. While performance reward increase motivation, loyalty, and attract talent, they have no direct correlation to fostering home-based work schedules. All right? Any questions, guys? We have 15 minutes remaining, so our practice, you came to practice, and that's what we shall do. But any questions? That is there one of do you see one of the questions that maybe you did not understand why the option we selected was the correct one. Right. So thus, as you can see, it's just a negation, right? So it wouldn't be. It would not. So you read the question carefully. This would not, it would not be regarded as an advantage. Would not. So careful when you're reading. You see, I've seen some of these multiple choices and people struggle with them, you know. So read carefully. All right. So engaging stakeholders. Healthy engagement with stakeholders follows which rules? So no single stakeholder should have private information relevant to others. The company should not permit undue interference in its running. Even-handedness between various classes of stakeholders should be ensured. All right, so I see all of the above, and it is true, right? One of those, but guys, don't memorize the question, right? It's because you guys understand, right? All right, so which one of the following statements is false? A company is a separate legal entity from the owners. The main goal of the financial manager is to increase the firm's overall profit. Ethical behavior has a substantial impact on shareholder wealth. There is a positive correlation between risk and return. Which one is false? Wow, I can see Auntie there. Right. Absolutely. 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 So profit maximization is an inferior goal. And I like that. This is very important, guys. It is an inferior goal because it ignores cash flow, timing, and risk. We touched on that. The true goal must always be long-term. It must be about building wealth, right? All right. So which one of the following is not one of the primary activities of the financial manager? Make financial decisions. B, prepare financial statement. C, make investment decisions. D, perform financial analysis. I am very, very satisfied. Clearly, you guys have read something. So clearly, I'm very satisfied. Auntie, Paul the accountant. Very, very satisfied. This is good, guys. So you see, these are the basics. Make sure you get the basics right? The wealth of the shareholders of a company is represented by what? Oh, is it earning per share? Is it the market price of the shares held by them? Is it the profit? Is it the cash flow? Tammy's on fire. Right, guys. Well done, Sierra. Right, guys. The two quickest were correct. It is the share price, right? And please, when you're doing your reading, then make sure you target that. So if you're still wondering why, then go and say, okay, let me just read that section to understand the difference really between why is the earning per share looking more at the short term, and why is the share price looking more at the long term and wealth maximization? Because it's either profit maximization or wealth maximization, right? With regards to this question, I'm not saying with regards to everything in life. All right, guys, the main goal of the financial manager is to do what? Is it to maximize profit? Is it to maximize shareholder wealth? Is it to minimize cost? Is it to maximize shareholder wealth? Obviously, he needs to do all of these, but what is the main goal? Absolutely. The main goal would be to maximize shareholder wealth. And I hope this practice confirmed that. This practice is to drill down, to drive the nail in your brains, to say, this is what it's all about, right? Maximizing shareholder wealth takes priority because it ensures long-term value creation and accounts for risk. All right, so included activities, right? Include the primary activities of the financial manager is or are included. Financial analysis and planning, making investment decisions, analyzing and planning cash flow. Absolutely, 100%. That will basically be all of the three, and they are in your textbook. All right, so the conflicts. Let's move on to the conflict now, a good part. So the conflict between the goals of the firm's owners and the goals of its non-owner managers is known as what? And I tell you, and that's what I told you guys. I said, I can see people who are simply reading and doing what they need to do because they react fast, right? Absolutely. That's what we talk about when we talk about the agency problem, right? We have the agent on one side and we have the principals on the other side who are the owners, right? Okay, so forecasting and budgeting. Very good question. Very good question. The forecasting and budgeting process will provide an indication of what? Profit earned over the last 2 years, the growth opportunities and obstacles facing the business, the staffing requirement of the business. What's the business capital and funding requirement will be. Okay, I have a D, a D there. So the question is, could it be what the business capital and funding requirement will be? So let's try, for example, the majority says B. Are you correct? Is it the growth opportunities and obstacles facing the business? Absolutely not. Ciara, I won't give it to you because you didn't answer. You were asking another question. But yes, these financial plans allow for the manager to anticipate. Remember, we are looking at the short, medium, long term. So needs, right? So it's all about the money, the funding. Ciara, I don't give it to you. I really don't give it to you because you asked a question on top of that. All right, guys. So let's move on to this question. We are practicing well, guys. We have 6 minutes remaining. Let's see what we can do in 6 minutes. So, which one of the following is not regarded as a key investment decision for a company? I think today was an introduction to how the practice would be. Obviously, with the other learning units being more numerical, it's going to be even more fun. But I think that there should be a point where I will let you guys run these sessions. That would be really great. If I can have Tammy, Ciara, Adebayo, Joshua reading. Sandekile, you're reading for us and you're moving, because I want it to be student-led and not necessarily me reading. But this was just an introduction to practice, right? So whether or not to purchase staff refreshments, right? So which one of the following, so I'm getting C, which one of the following is not regarded as a key investment decision for a company? Whether or not to take on a new project, whether or not to embark on research and development, it's kind of, it does make sense, right? Whether or not to invest in plant and equipment. So obviously this will not be. Guys, you didn't fall into the trap, but always remember, read properly the question, but you guys are terrific, right? So corporate affairs. Who has the ultimate responsibility in guiding corporate affairs and carrying out policies? All right, so the next question. Tammy is going to read the next question. Adebayo is going to read the other one. Ciara is going to read. So let's do it that way. Okay? No problem, Joshua. If you can excuse yourself. No, these are built, these questions, this practice is only built for this session. I might share that with you guys, but the first time you will see it is when you come to class. So that will be always the advantage of coming to class, is that that's the first time you will see this interactive thing. All right, guys, so you're saying, what are you saying? What are you saying for this question? Who has the ultimate responsibility in guiding corporate affairs and carrying out policies? I'm seeing a B there to say that it's the chief executive officer. Okay. I see more of a B there. Stockholders, creditors, could it be the board of directors? Okay, since the majority is saying B, which I don't believe, but because you have a board of directors, right? You do have a board of directors. So the board of directors represent the shareholders and is ultimately responsible for governance and high-level corporate strategy. All right, so next question is coming with, so Tammy, this is yours. If you can unmute yourself, please do, and just read for us the question. We are practicing already how it's going to be during the semester.
Financial management. A involves tasks such as budgeting, financial forecasting, and funds procurement. B involves the design, the delivery of advice and financial products. C recognizes funds on a accrual basis.
Yeah.
D devotes attention to the collection of financial data.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tammy. Guys, what says you? What is financial management all about? What is the focus? All right, so I see A. Shall we try it? Absolutely. So financial management is active and strategic. Very important. Focusing on securing and managing the funds needed to run the business. So it's not only managing. Yes, I see the management part, but it's also how do we acquire those funds in the first place? Especially for you guys in hospitality or as future entrepreneurs, you need to raise the capital, right? Okay, guys, Adebayo, you take on the next one. If you can unmute yourself.
Finance can be defined as A, the science of the production and consumption of wealth, B, the system of debts and credits, C, the art and science of managing money, D, the art of merchandising products and services.
Thank you so much, Adebayo. Tammy, do I have an A and a C, or is it a C? I think the A was for the last question, right? So it's a C. All right, cool. The art and science of managing money. That be that art of and science of managing money. Absolutely. And it does make sense, guys. Like I said, some of us who are into data forecasting, it does make sense. But it's the artistic side of it is that what you need to see also is that part. Yes, there is the analytical part, but there is also the negotiation, the strategy that comes in, and that you can't tell me is just pure science, right? There's a level of artistry there. And that's why, for example, you might wonder, if you do not understand very well these differences, you might think that, maybe getting a higher degree would secure you, a position as a financial manager. But I think you need to see it more as the more you practice, the more you become good at it, the more you would understand even. So there is information, but then you can use that information into negotiation. One of the things that I will be sharing with you all the time on our community chat is Dragon's Den. I will start, but if you're watching it already, you are a fan of it, continue watching it. But I'm sure that now that you are doing finance, you will see it also in new light. You will see it differently, right? But it's quite interesting. Dragon's Den, very important, guys. I think Dragon's Den has to do with the UK version, right? Shark Tank is the American version. So feel free. Both of them are just amazing, right? Okay, let's move on to Ciara. Ciara, please do us the pleasure with this question.
Accrual versus cash. Whereas the bookkeeper recognized the revenues using the accrual method, the financial manager focused primarily on A, the prudence and cost principles, B, the actual inflows and outflows of cash, C, IFRS and IAS standards, or D, the revenue method.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ciara. Guys, I should have let you speak from the very beginning. I mean, your voices carry so much authority, I tell you. All right, so I see a B and I see a C. That's interesting there. So remember, whereas the bookkeeper sees the revenue, right? He recognizes the revenue. That's the bookkeeper using the accrual method, right? What is the financial manager focusing on? So let's try what is coming as your primary choice. These are more of standards, right? So who said B? Tammy. Tammy changed her answer very quickly there. All right, so inflow and outflow of cash. And guys, it would make sense, 100% sense, because as we will move on to other learning, you'll be able to taste that. That's in and out. We are doing the income statement next week. The income statement. You will see the in and out. What is coming in, what is going out. And that will be a focus, really. All right. Okay, so Tandekile, I think for the last question for tonight, please do us the favor. Oh, Ciara, good question. Just adding, when you are accrual means, obviously, it's just the concept of something piling, accruing, right? So, but that would not really be finance, you see. Finance would be more of what is coming in, what is going out. It's not always about profit, income, profit. It's also about losses and expenses. You see what I'm saying? So exactly. Sandekile, can you unmute yourself? Are you there? I can see you on my screen. All right, maybe you're having a problem with your microphone, but the agency problem may result from a manager's concern about any of the following, except what? Except job security, except personal wealth, except corporate goals, except what? Except company provided fringe benefits? That was an interesting move, Adebayo. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's a very good move. So it's true. It does make sense. So the agency problem would not be really, because if he's worried about the corporate goals, then there's no agency problem. And again, the point is that sometimes they try to trick you when they asking these multiple choices. You might look at your paper and it might seem like, oh, the easiest part is the multiple choices. But the point of this exercise, because you're going to get multiple choices, sometimes even in the exam, not saying it's always going to be there, but it could be there. The point would be that these tricky questions could be maybe 20 marks. And I've seen people mess them up completely, you see. So just be careful how you're reading. But again, you saw that we went quite deep into really your understanding. And so this was a very good practice session, right? So if some of you want me to share this, I will share, especially this section. You can use this section for yourself. But for this first section that we practice, I'm very happy. I think that your reading is on point, and I really would like to encourage you to carry on. You heard that some of you have already started learning Unit 2. Please, 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 if you've started learning Unit 2, go ahead. Go ahead. In fact, if you tell me I've started learning Unit 3, I will really, really be happy. So please, 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 please go ahead and do as much as possible, because what I would like you to have is already to have a broad picture of a particular learning unit, so that when we come and we're covering it in class, we're going slightly deeper. All right, guys? So I will stop the recording here so as not to make it too long. I told you I fear that, because if the recording is too long, yeah, some of you will struggle to watch.